Before we begin, don't forget to hit that like button, drop your thoughts in the comments below, and subscribe so you never miss our newest stories. Rain poured down hard that night, hammering against the window in my living room without stopping. You know those cold, miserable days that make you feel chilled to your core? And all you want to do is wrap yourself in a warm blanket with something good to read? That's exactly what kind of day it was. I'd just gotten done cleaning up the kitchen after eating, listening to the dishwasher running quietly, when I heard the doorbell. It caught me off guard. Nobody was supposed to be coming over, especially with weather this bad. Looking through the peephole, I spotted Mark on my front porch, hunched over trying to avoid the heavy rain, completely soaked and looking kind of confused. Mark was my brother-in-law, the younger brother of my late husband, Tom. "Mark, what are you doing here?" I pulled the door open fast, waving him in. "Get in here." He gave me this embarrassed smile, water dripping everywhere. "Hey, Sarah, I'm sorry for just popping up without calling. My car broke down maybe 2 blocks from here, and naturally my phone's completely dead. I was thinking maybe I could borrow your phone to get a tow truck out here?" "Absolutely," I told him, rushing to grab a big towel from the closet. "Here, get yourself dried off. You must be freezing." I walked him to the kitchen, which was the warmest spot in the house since I'd been using the oven earlier. You could still smell the roasted chicken a little bit. He took the towel and started drying his wet dark hair. Water dripped from his old leather boots onto the linoleum. "Thanks so much. Sarah, you're saving my life right now." His eyes wandered around my kitchen and stopped for a second on that picture of Tom and me sitting on the shelf over the counter. It had been almost 2 years since I lost Tom, but sometimes it felt like his absence was its own kind of presence, like a quietness filling up spaces that used to be full of his laugh. Mark and Tom had always been tight, even though they'd chosen totally different lives. Tom was the reliable engineer type. Mark was the restless musician who never really stayed in one place too long. "Did you get anything to eat yet?" I asked, realizing he was probably starving if he'd been driving around this late. "It was already after 8. He paused. No, not yet. I was on my way home," clears throat. "Figured I'd pick up something fast." "Don't be silly," I said, opening the fridge. "I've got plenty of chicken left over, some potatoes, green beans too. Takes like 2 seconds to warm it up. You make your call and I'll get you some food. Don't even argue with me." Another small smile crossed his face, and this time it actually reached his eyes. Those eyes looked tired though, I noticed. More wrinkles at the edges than I remembered seeing before. "All right, Sarah, if you're sure." That actually sounds perfect. While he talked to the tow company, they said they'd have someone here in an hour depending on the weather, I got busy heating everything up. There's something calming about these simple kitchen tasks. Mark finished up with the call on our old beige landline, the one we kept around for situations exactly like this, and stood there watching me lean against the counter. Something was different about him tonight. Normally, Mark was all energy, constantly talking, telling jokes, filling up whatever room he was in. But tonight, he seemed quiet, almost like he was lost in thought. "It smells even better now than it did before," he said quietly. "That's comfort food for you," I answered, putting the chicken and veggies on a plate. Perfect for awful weather and broken down cars. I put the plate on the little kitchen table where Tom and I used to sit for breakfast. "Sit. Eat." He sat down, staring at the food for a moment before grabbing his fork. "Thanks again, Sarah. I mean it." I filled 2 glasses with red wine, set one down in front of him, and kept the other for myself, leaning back against the counter across from him. Rain kept drumming steadily on the windows. Something about being in that kitchen felt strangely close and personal, like we were tucked away from everything happening outside. Just 2 people who both cared about the same man we'd lost, sharing an unexpected dinner on a terrible night. I watched him eat while silence filled the space between us. But it wasn't awkward. It was the comfortable kind of quiet, heavy with things we weren't saying but understood because of our shared past. I had this feeling that the broken-down car wasn't the real story here. Something else was bothering him. Something behind that tired look in his eyes. And somehow, I felt this pull to figure out what it was. The whole night suddenly felt different. Like there was this subtle energy in the air. Like maybe the normal boundaries between us, sister-in-law and brother-in-law, were starting to shift in the soft, warm light of my kitchen. Mark cleaned his plate completely, pushing it away with a satisfied sigh. That was amazing, Sarah. Thank you. I think I needed that way more than I knew. He looked up at me, his eyes meeting mine and holding there a second longer than normal. The exhaustion was still visible, but I could see something else too. Maybe vulnerability. You're welcome, Mark, I said quietly, moving the wine around in my glass. Bad day even before your car gave up on you? He let out this short laugh that didn't sound happy at all. You could definitely say that. Bad month, honestly, maybe even a bad year. He ran his fingers through his hair, still damp. Things haven't been going well. Music, the band's basically breaking up. Nobody's booking us anymore, and Mel and I ended things a couple weeks ago. Melinda was his longtime girlfriend. I had no clue they'd split up. Mark wasn't great at keeping people updated, and Tom used to be the one who connected Mark with everyone else in the family. After Tom died, Mark had pulled away even more, visiting way less often. Oh, Mark, I'm really sorry, I said, genuinely shocked and sad for him. I didn't know anything about that. He shrugged, looking down at his hands on the table. Yeah, well, I haven't exactly been broadcasting it. It was mutual, kind of. Just slowly fell apart, like a wet firecracker that won't go off. Music. He tried to smile, but couldn't quite manage it. Seems like that's the story of everything in my life these days. Music. I got up from the counter and sat in the chair facing him, sitting the same way he was. Sounds like you're dealing with a lot right now. He looked up, looking a little surprised, like maybe he didn't expect me to ask more questions, or maybe he wasn't used to someone just acknowledging how hard things were. Yeah, I guess so. He took a slow drink of wine. It's weird. When Tom was still here, I don't know, everything felt different. Like there was someone to catch me if I fell. Someone who just understood. Understood me, His voice got a little thick when he said his brother's name. A familiar ache hit my chest. I know exactly what you mean, I whispered. Tom had been that same person for me. The steady one. The one who just got it without needing long explanations. We sat there in silence again, but it felt different this time. Music, more intense. The grief we both carried, and the unspoken understanding of what we'd both lost, created this new kind of bond between us. It wasn't just me as Tom's wife and Mark as Tom's brother anymore. We were two people struggling through our own separate storms, finding this unexpected moment of peace together in a quiet kitchen on a rainy night. Mark said, barely speaking above a whisper. Tom always told me you were the strongest person he'd ever met. He looked up to you so much, Sarah. Tears came to my eyes without warning. Tom wasn't usually the type to say his feelings that directly, at least not to me. Hearing it from Mark felt like getting a gift from Tom after he was gone. Like getting validation I didn't even realize I was missing. He never said that to me. He wasn't always the best at saying stuff directly. Mark laughed softly, and this time there was real warmth in it. But he felt everything deeply. Music, he used to worry about you afterward, worried about you being by yourself. I get by, Music said, trying to keep my voice from shaking. It gets quiet, Music, sometimes. Too quiet, but I manage. It was true, but saying it out loud felt raw, like I was exposing this loneliness I usually kept hidden away. Mark reached across the table then, his hand carefully covering mine where it was resting near my wine glass. His hand felt warm, Music, and I wasn't expecting it. It didn't feel romantic exactly, not in the obvious way. It felt like understanding, like simple human connection. I caught my breath a little, surprised by the warmth that rushed through me and by how intense his look was. His dark eyes seemed to be searching mine, looking for something. Understanding, maybe? Permission? You're not alone tonight, Sarah, he said softly, his thumb brushing gently across my knuckles. It was such a small movement, so quick, but it sent all these confusing feelings rushing through me. Thankfulness, sadness, and the strange flutter of something I couldn't quite identify. It was the kind of touch that says more than words could, closing the distance between polite small talk and real emotional closeness. The rain beat against the windows, making us feel even more isolated, making the sudden closeness between us feel even stronger in the warm glow of the kitchen. The tow truck seemed like it was 1,000,000 miles away, That moment stretched out, hanging in the quiet hum of the house and the steady rhythm of rain. Mark's hand stayed on mine, this surprisingly warm point of connection. I didn't move my hand away.